intros are just me like walking in like this.
Yeah.
They're like so unprofessional. But I just think it makes a nicer like.
It does, yeah. It's just like a
thing.
friendly like
Well,
chat,
that's all I want
isn't
it to
it?
be. Like,
Yeah.
business doesn't have to be businessy. Like, you know, we want to have a chat and get on with people. So
Yeah.
it's much nicer.
I have actually found that since going into the business world that it's just people. Like people, it genuinely is just people. Like stuff like business expos, it is literally just like people aren't that scary,
No.
and it's not that formal. Like it can be in situations, but it is just nice to have just a friendly chat sometimes.
Like, that's the thing, isn't it? It's like you want to meet people and then what they're interested in, which is generally, that's why I started the podcast. That's why I get people on who I sort of just find interesting and see little parts of their stories and get to know.
Yeah.
And so that's why I invited highly professional. So that's why I invited you on.
Thanks.
Little intro. I'm going to go to this camera. So we've got Chloe, who, what should we say, head of marketing for the Chester House Estate.
Yes.
Is that the best description?
Yes, Chester House Estate, pretty much where most of my time is spent, but also the wider culture, tourism and heritage sector for North Northamptonshire. So, yeah, but pretty much everyone will know me from the Chester House Estate.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I spend quite a bit of my time when I can. Like, so definitely know your face from there.
Yeah.
With the heritage side, is that something you were interested in before doing the role there, or is there another part of the job that you are interested in and then you sort of growing from there? How did it all start? How did Chester House?
Chester House, I've never been into history. I've never been interested in heritage. And then my job before working at Chester House, I worked for not-for-profits, PR and marketing, but one of our clients was Chester House, which isn't not-for-profit. We just found it really interesting when we went out for tender for it. And a lot of my job was to do with like events and the creative side, and that's what I really like doing is creativity. And so I just really enjoyed it. And then a job came up. I remember we did the first spring event before I started there, like with my old job, and I just loved it, like with all the lambs and everything. And my boss now said to me, like, there might be something coming up, like, are you interested? And I was like, not sure, like I'm still at uni, I haven't finished yet, I don't know what I want to do properly, but I knew that I enjoyed it. And so when the job came up, I thought, yeah, why not? And there's so much to the estate that I didn't know about, so I found it interesting that it was heritage, and I found it interesting we had learning and that kind of thing, but I just didn't know anything about it. And since I joined, I'm like, oh my gosh, there was so much more to the estate than I actually thought. And now I get the privilege of actually marketing that, so it's really cool.
And that's like the interesting thing, isn't it, with marketing is people always think you need to know so much about the subject you're marketing, but actually part of the key insight is if you don't know, the things you learn are the things you need to educate other people on as well.
Exactly. And it's stuff like the heritage. There's so many like technicalities and terms and things that I just didn't understand. And that's quite useful when you're marketing to people that want to know more, but they don't understand. They're not archaeologists. They're not professionals. Some might be, but majority of our audience isn't on our social media, for example. So it's then making it friendly to them so they can learn about it and they're interested in it, but they don't feel really overwhelmed with all these massive words.
And there's just so much, what was it? Is it 10,000 years?
10,000 years of history. Yeah, there's so much to unpack on the estate. And I think when you come to the estate, it just looks like a field. Like obviously there's the lovely house and stuff like that, but underneath the field is, you know, where the Romans used to live. It's a town, like people had their lives there. And that's why the excavation is really important, because you're literally digging up history.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. And it's something I'm so interested in now as well.
And like you say, it's just there as you go in, isn't it? So like when you drive in through the main gates, like you got the farmhouse cafe.
Farmhouse,
I was gonna say farm shop, and I knew you
no.
were going off. Farmhouse.
The farmhouse, yeah.
So, you know, for a nice coffee and everything, you've got all the little independent shops. You've got Trapped, who we've had Jake on here before.
Yeah.
There's business networking. There's all this stuff that's sort of happening in the buildings we see now. And then there's the field that's over the side. You think, how many years ago would it have been quite similar? Like, there would have been shops there. There probably would have been like, I have no idea what a Roman pub would have been called. Like, it's not a tavern. But
I have no idea either. Please don't ask me.
But all that community would have been happening there.
Yeah.
And then you've got like the Ark, where I had a little nose round the other week, and you've got an old sword there, and all this interesting stuff that, unless you know it, you completely miss out on it. And it's like little random facts of something I love. And so just seeing what's there is so cool.
Exactly. And it's like people know us for one thing, I find. So when, you know, you've come to the networking, and if it's new people that haven't been there, they're like, oh, this is really good for networking. But then as they walk around, they see, because we're free to enter, free to park, they might go in the museum and be like, oh my gosh, actually, what is this place? Or they might be like, oh, look, there's an advertising for Kids Summer Festivals coming up, for example. Yeah. Oh, actually, I might bring the kids. And then they see all the different elements that we've got at the estate. And that's what's really cool. My job is every day, I was telling you a second ago, every day I just do a little bit of everything. So I might literally go from 1 hour focus on weddings. Oh, hold on a minute, there's a school and I need to go get pictures. Oh, hold on a minute, I need to promote this. So it is really exciting all the time.
It just keeps like fresh stuff happening, and just keeps something different constantly.
Yeah, literally.
Which is for brains like in the creative world like ours, it's just ideal. Like sitting down doing one thing, no thanks.
No,
can't do it.
Get so bored. Yeah. Like my brain is literally like all the time. I find it really hard to switch off, but I do try at like 5 o'clock. I'm like, okay, I need to go home. I need to take my mind away from it. But it is hard, like when you enjoy what you do and you've got all these ideas, and it might be 8 p.m. and I've got an idea and I'm like, please let me do it. But I really try and have that like work-life balance. It's so important.
So what do you do then to switch off? What's your after 5 or after 8 o'clock, you know, thing just to switch out of work mode?
I feel like it's not massively out of work mode, but I love writing. Okay. It's always been my passion. I always wanted to be a writer. I've always had an English brain, not a maths brain. So I love writing. I literally write anything and everything. When I was younger, I always used to write. I used to read books at the library, and then I used to rewrite them how I wanted them to be.
So fraud. Okay, copyright.
Yeah, pretty much,
nice.
Yeah. I also didn't publish them, but it was just things like that. Like, and I don't know whether that's because I'm a bit of a control freak, and I was like, no, it should have gone this way, or whether my brain is just really creative, and I just think, well, actually, why didn't the story go this way? I can just make it go that way and rewrite it.
Yeah,
but as I've gotten older, I just end up thinking, I live life through stories. I just think stories are incredible, and I've studied journalism, and I just love people and stories, so I just literally write stories. I love it. And then sometimes I just love sleep as well. A good nap.
Sleep can never be overrated.
No,
sleep,
exactly.
It's essential.
Yeah.
And if not, coffee.
Oh, so, yeah. I have like 6 a day. It's quite bad.
Always yellow bourbon?
Not always, no. We've now got Bella Barista in the farmhouse, and that is stunning as well.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't mind. I'm not that much of a coffee snob, to be honest. Coffee's coffee, but the one in the farmhouse is literally my favourite at the moment. So nice. I will happily drink that 6 times a day.
Which is handy because it's where your office is.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's handy, but also not that good, you know, because it's literally right there. I can just go down all the time if I want to.
Too easy. Yeah. You need to get some extra steps in between or something. So,
exactly. Yeah.
So you've said you studied journalism.
Yes.
And you've said you used to copy books from the library. What was your journey like between them? Like, where did you grow up? Northamptonshire?
No, I didn't. So originally I'm from Hertfordshire, a town called Hitchin. Yeah, I love it there. It's so pretty. And then I came to university in Northampton, and then I stayed because I had my job. So yeah, that's my journey really. And I've always wanted to do loads of different things. Like I loved writing. I always wanted to be a dancer. That was my dream. And then I wanted to be a pirate at some point until I found out what a pirate is. Yeah. But it's always, Stacey from Creative Tomorrow College actually said to me last year something that will stick with me forever. She said, you can't be what you can't see. And I think about it probably daily actually. Yeah. And I just think like, I probably wanted to be a pirate because I saw a pirate on the film that I watched. And I wanted to be a dancer because that's what I did. That's what my mum got me into. Like, I didn't want to do marketing because I didn't know what it was. I didn't know anyone that worked in marketing until, you know, I started my first job at uni, until I knew it was a possibility. And I think a lot of kids, when you grow up, they want to be what your parents are, or if you've got a favourite auntie, what they do and things like that. And that's why I love talking to kids about what they want to do. Yeah. And I was talking to my friend the other day, and I was telling her about it. And she said, I think that's why so many kids want to be teachers, because they've always got that teacher in their life.
Yeah, it's always
and
like
I always wanted to be a teacher as well. I don't know if you wanted to be a teacher, but
I don't think anybody will want to be taught by me.
Like, I feel like if you have bad experiences at school, then you don't want to be a teacher. But if you do, school is a big part of a lot of people's lives, and you know that's why a lot of kids want to be a teacher. I think,
like you say, like what was the saying? You
can't be what you can't see.
Can't be what you can't see. Like I have quite a big thing of, you could be right next to your perfect career. Like the skill sets you have might make you super successful at something, but unless you know it's there, you're not going to do it. Like you can imagine if Usain Bolt had never had somebody saying, you should try sprinting. Like what if he went off and tried to play football? He'd probably be quite good because he's fast and he's athletic, but he wouldn't be best in the world. And so just having like a mentor or somebody, or the social media side at the moment where there's so much information and so much content out there, a lot of it is rubbish, especially the stuff going to kids. But if there could be something that's like, I've got this skill set and it means I can do this really well and I've made a career out of it, so I can have this Lamborghini or something like that, could be such a positive use for something that at the moment tends to get used a lot with scams and like, oh, you should do Forex trading, you should do this, you should do that. And so I think there's going to be a massive change in the next couple of years, how social content and all that sort of work, pulling people away from these fake personalities into sort of actual people who do good things. And especially around things like dancing and things like that, because now it's such a positive career, whereas in the past it was so difficult to make a living at it. I think it was one of the lowest paying industries in the UK, like in 2012-ish when I graduated.
Yeah.
Whereas now,
back in the day,
back way back when. But now it's, you can, because of TikTok, because of all the other social media and influencer style stuff, you can do well out of it. So there's big changes in the world at the moment.
Yeah, and I think with dancing as well, because of there was a big thing about like mental health within dance, and the way, I think it's very similar in terms of like modelling and things like that, is how you're treated in that industry. And I've always been okay with it. I've done a lot of different types of dancing, but I did a lot of ballroom dancing specifically. So with that, it was different, whereas I know some of my friends did ballet, and it was really particular about how you looked and how you acted and what you ate. And I get it to a degree, but it's, I'm not a man and I've never played in a men's sport, but I know as a woman, as a young woman, that was really tricky, of that pressure at such a young age to be shaped in a way that you had to be. But I was quite lucky, I never actually experienced it that bad, but some of my friends had it really bad. And to this day, they've lost their love for dance, or they just don't feel the same about it anymore, and it is really heartbreaking when you've got that dream and
it's something you love, and then there's constant rejection of it, of you're not good enough. It's the communication type, isn't it? It's a no, it's a, you need to fix this, you need to do that, whereas it should be this is the, we found somebody who's a better fit, or done, you did really well in this, but we need this. There's so much different options out there for.
Yeah, and I think with dance as well, it's that kind of, do you do for a career what you actually like to do as a hobby? Like, is it worth it? Because then if it goes wrong, you've then lost that as like a love and a hobby, because it was your job, And that's what I kind of, I had a back operation, we'll go into that in a little bit, but that kind of stopped my dream of being a dancer. But I don't know whether that was a silver lining, and I could have been like, really not enjoying it as a job, and then it's like ruined my ideal hobby, So you never, but I'll never know, but it's always in the back of my mind.
There's a really good speech by what's his name, played Ace Ventura, forgot his name,
Don't know.
Right there a minute ago, but he talks about the fact that his dad was an accountant, and his dad was very funny, and his dad always wanted to be a comedian but never would do it. And he was an accountant, and then towards the end of his career, I think he lost his job, or the company went bankrupt or something, and he basically, everything he'd been planning his whole life, the whole retirement, just got ruined. And so he said, why not chase the thing you really want to do? And it might not work out, because also the thing you might not want to do also might not work out.
That's so true.
And it's like, it's always worth giving it a go.
Yeah.
Like, unless something pops up that means you really can't do it, which I think were you hinting at your operation is a bit of a reason that the dance had to stop?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I had scoliosis. I've had it since I was about 12. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And then I had to get an operation for it when I was 16. And then
Can
ever
you
since.
describe what scoliosis is for us?
Yeah, so it's effectively a curvature of your spine. Scoliosis is sideways normally. There is kyphosis, which is linked, which is normally like forwards. So if you see people with like an arched back, they've normally got kyphosis. But yeah, scoliosis. So I had like an S-shaped spine I had idiopathic, which means teenager. So you develop it. Some people are born with it. Some people develop it. They don't really know why you develop it at the moment. There's a lot of research going into it, but I hope I find out one day. But it tends to be within girls a lot more, and people that do sport as well. So like you mentioned Usain Bolt earlier, he's actually got scoliosis.
Okay, fine.
But yeah, so it's a curvature of your spine. So my spine developed into an S shape. And by the time I caught it, it was unfortunately quite bad. So my top degree was like 54 degrees. My bottom degree was nearly 70 degrees. So if you think of right angle, it was quite intense. So I have now got titanium rods down my spine, which sometimes people always say, can you feel it?
Yeah.
And no, I can't. Not anymore, because it's just the norm now. It's been it's been a couple of years. But at the time, it was really strange. Like I always described it as like a puppeteer's hand up your back for a little bit, because it was like, it was just really foreign, and you were like, oh God, like you don't really feel like yourself. I'm speaking for myself. I don't know how other people feel, but yeah, so that kind of, I had quite a few weeks out of my GCSEs when I had it, so I kind of taught myself a lot of my GCSEs. My school provided me with English and maths tutor, but the rest of it I taught myself. My teachers would send me some stuff, and I would literally sit at home and just teach myself, and I really enjoyed school, which is good. Because if I didn't, I probably wouldn't have passed my GCSEs.
No, you would have been ignoring that work.
Yeah.
That's what I would have done, I think.
That was one of my proudest things, was that I was the first year to have numbers at my GCSEs.
Right.
So I managed to get a 9 in geography and an 8 in English, and I was just so proud of it.
What does that mean to us that didn't have numbers?
So 9 is like top A star, 8 is an A star.
Right.
So I was like so proud of just scrape maths, just scrape science. But those two were like massive for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously my dream of a dancer kind of didn't come to an end. Like I could still kind of dance, but I couldn't be a professional dancer now, which is a real shame. But it wasn't meant to be. Yeah. So that's why I just have to tell myself it wasn't meant to be. If it was meant to be, it would have been.
Yeah.
But it's a massive part of who I am now. So
now you've got another industry that you love, and like you say, you can have the separate hobby without the pressure of it. So
exactly.
You can dance for fun, and you can do that.
Yeah.
But also your love of writing comes across because the subject you've got to write about being so personal, and not many people really talking about it. And you've done a LinkedIn post a little while ago, didn't you, that sort of got traction's maybe the wrong word, but it got some attention, didn't it? And it sort of opened up some other people's
So June is actually Scoliosis Awareness Month. So I normally do like something about it. And this time I wrote an article for the Metro whilst I was at uni, and it's like one of my proudest moments of my life. Yeah. And so I thought, I didn't know what it was when I got diagnosed. I had it for 4 years. You never know who's going to have it or know someone that might have it. So it is really important to raise that awareness. And I got tagged. It said like, this lady, I'm not going to name her, but this lady mentioned you in a comment on in a post on LinkedIn. I was like, oh, okay, what have I been tagged in? And she said herself, she's got scoliosis. She had the surgery and she didn't even know it was the awareness month. Yeah. And she kind of shared her story on LinkedIn from that. And I've never met her. I don't know who she is. I don't know where she's based. She might not even be Northamptonshire. That's the power of social media, isn't it? Yeah. But that's all I wanted from that post, was just someone to look at it and feel inspired and feel like they could share their story, but also like know about the awareness month, know about scoliosis. And it was something like, I think I spoke to you about it before on TikTok. There was this guy that came up on my For You page, and he wasn't even like, it wasn't even a viral video. Like it had maybe 1,000 likes, which is decent, but like not viral. And I think he was American. And it was a gym transformation video, and he was like before and after. And in both videos, his shoulders were slightly wonky. And I was like, like that's one of the things that happened to me. So I thought, just something in me, I'm just going to have to message him. I didn't want him to think I was being weird, but I messaged him and I was like... It's
probably not the weirdest message that's gone across on the internet.
No.
So you'll be okay.
I messaged him and I was like, I'm sorry if this is out of place, because you are talking about someone's body.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm really sorry if this is out of place. Like, I'm not flirting with you, but
I really like that turning shoulder that you've got going on.
But I was just like, I just think you should get it checked out. Like, this is my story. And he said to me, like, a couple of people told me this, but this is the first message that's actually made me think about it.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm going to get it checked out. And I haven't heard from him since, but he doesn't have to tell me. But, you know, I just thought, okay, it's actually made him think about it now. And he's like, I might have just helped someone. Yeah. And it is that, like, it is just raising the awareness of it. And, you know, if you've been through it yourself or something very similar, or any life experience that you've been through, there's someone else that's gone through it as well.
Yeah. And for the whole social media thing, that's sort of the nice part of it, is being able to share stories, share things that help, like not this, the rubbish side of it, which seems to be hopefully dying away as these sort of little stories come out in these little communities. Yeah. Which I think
you're always going to get those people, aren't you? You're always going to get the social media trolls. But I just think, like, with the whole Scoliosis Awareness Month, how would people recognise that without social media? I mean, there's ways you can do it in yourself and your immediate family and things, but, like, we've actually got in the Arc, I think it's at the Uni of Leicester at the moment, we've got an old Roman person who has scoliosis, and they're examining a spine with scoliosis, and I'm dying to see it. But so our curator said when it's back I can have a look. But I just thought, did they even know they had that? How have they, you know, did they get a diagnosis? How would they celebrate Awareness Month, like that kind of thing? And it is all that story again, isn't it? And this isn't a new thing, scoliosis, but people still don't know about it. Yeah. So
you mentioned before that you said it was 12. You were 12, weren't you, when you were diagnosed with it? Yeah. And you like,
no, I was diagnosed at 16, but I think I had it from about 12. Yeah.
And you showed me a picture where, sort of.
Yeah, my first day of school with my backpack on. But yeah, and my shoulders were wonky, weren't they? Yeah. And like you could see it in my legs and the way I was standing. But
you could also just glance at it and be like, awkward teenager.
Yeah. My mum literally said, oh, it's because she's got a heavy bag on her shoulder. Yeah. And we blamed that for like 4 years just because we didn't know what we were looking for.
Swap sides with your bag. Come
on.
Literally,
be a bit straighter, please. But no, it is literally. But it is, if you don't know what you're looking for, you have no idea. Yeah. So it is that awareness. And they used to do testing in school for it. And like, you know, when you get your BMI tested and things like that. Yeah. They used to do it, and they took it out, I think, because of funding, or it's quite like you have to like bend over, and sometimes you might get a hump in your back. It's called the Adams forward bend test. But I don't know why. I feel like I should know. I feel like I should educate myself on why they did that. I would imagine it's funding, but I don't know.
It's not one of those things. You know, you're not a doctor.
No,
it's maybe just the fact that your story is going out there. You don't need to educate everybody. There's the information out there. We'll try and find something and we'll put it in the description or something so people can, if they think there might be an issue with somebody they know or their own back, then
that'd be cool.
Look online and
help. Yeah, and there's so many celebrities that you like that you might not know.
Give us the celebs. Who are they?
Princess Eugenie.
Yeah.
Usain Bolt. Who's the guy at Fault in Your Stars? What's her name? Hayley something. She's got a Martha Hunt, Victoria's Secret model, and she actually, her story's quite cool.
I'm nodding like I know. I'm terrible with celebrities.
That's all right. Well, she's really cool, actually. She's a good example because she's a Victoria's Secret model, and she had her surgery before she was a Victoria's Secret model, and she said to her surgeon, "You've got to give me the straightest scar because I'm going to be a model," and he kind of like laughed at her. And now look at her, she's a Victoria's Secret model. Yeah. But she also does a collaboration with CG Scoliosis, a Curvy Girl Scoliosis. Right. And they have like a jewellery line, and she does a lot of blogs, and she talks to a lot of women that have had surgery and scoliosis. So she's kind of like an advocate for the scoliosis community, the Curvy Girl community, we like to call it. But that's why it's so important to have those role models as well, isn't it? It is really important to have someone to look up, especially as a young girl, I think.
Yeah, and people like Usain Bolt as well, which shows you can still do things as well after having a pretty, well, not even pretty major, it's a major operation.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's had his surgery. I think his is less minor. Okay. So not everyone has to have surgery for it. It's like monitoring and things. So I don't think he ever has. But even so, having a curvy spine and being like a really cool athlete is quite a flex. Yeah. So
guy.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, it is really important to have those kind of people that you can look up to about it.
Yeah. Nice. there's so many subjects I think we would end up getting on track, and we've got like 5 minutes left in the podcast because we are trying to keep to less than 40 minutes, which all of them have been like close to an hour.
I do yap quite a bit, so sorry.
I have been known as well. There's so many more subjects we can go into, but I think what's the nice thing on this is bringing attention to other people in Northamptonshire who do cool stuff. You're one of them. You work in such a cool place that I've mentioned it so many times. The Chester House Estate, the networking, all of that down there. You're the key person, aren't you, for the networking?
Yeah, so it was my idea. I just thought, why we're not doing it? We host a lot of other networking groups that are incredible, and I just thought, why don't we just do our own?
Yeah.
So myself and my general manager kind of put our heads together, and we were just like, let's just find some dates, let's plan it out a little bit. And that's one thing at Chester House we're really big on, is working with the community. We always have been, but it's a different way of the community. So, we're free to enter to encourage local community, but also it's that business element as well, and working with local organisations and charities and businesses. So we've done a couple now. We're not trying to do them that frequently. It's quite nice to leave a gap and then people come together.
Yeah, and we're able to have a catch up.
Yeah, exactly.
Having that gap, it's not just what have you done over the past week?
Yeah. Oh, I saw you last week at the networking, so we've got nothing to talk about. Whereas, like, if we have that gap, it's then I've got this really cool new project. Oh, actually, I met so and so, because you meet people all the time. Yeah. So then you never know who you're gonna help or who's gonna you might build relationships with the people, and so I think we're going to try and do them every 2 months. Cool. It's just everyone that's been has just said it's just really calm, and like it flows really nicely, and it's like just having a laugh and getting to know people and just sharing contacts.
There's quite a few like new faces as well, like each of them that we've had so far. People who are just getting into networking, and sort of it's quite a little safe space for people to come along, because it's not as not structured, more not as formal as some of the others. I think it is more just getting to know people. Yeah,
and it's also, we have these massive cakes.
And
everyone loves them. So
honestly,
LinkedIn went crazy for them. Like everyone that posted something on LinkedIn was like, and we love the pastries and the cakes. I was like, oh, great.
That might be why I keep going.
I think that's why a lot of people keep going, to be fair. But it's okay. It's all good.
And then you also do a lot of family events, don't you, in the estate? Because I've been for the family stuff, I've been for the business stuff. I've took my dog for breakfast.
Greg!
So there's loads going on there. Where's a good place for people to have a look what's going on when you're keeping an eye for the new networking events and all the family stuff going on? Everything is happening. Where can they have a look?
Definitely the website. There's so much on the website that we're hoping to have a new website soon. So look out for that. That'll be really exciting. But follow us on social media. There's something going on literally every single day. Like we have an event every weekend throughout the year, and summer is just packed of things for families. But we always have that kind of, we call it family learning. So there's always like a craft activity or a bonding activity or something within that that we work with the learning department really closely with. But also sometimes we just do like, it's not, we have to pay for every event. So sometimes for Maybank Holiday, we just did a free event, and it was like live music and the barbecue was on, and it's literally just encouraging to people to come and visit, get to know what we do, get out of the house, have that time with their family. And then we do also have the really fun, like Kids Summer Festivals are a massive one in the summer. And there's inflatables and there's superheroes and all kinds of stuff like that. So there's literally something for everyone. And then there's stuff for heritage lovers. There's stuff for people that are looking to get married. And there's literally a bit of something for everyone. Yeah. And the fact that we're free is huge, because we just want people to come out.
It can cost a fortune just to...
Yeah, exactly. Like we understand
that a day, and to be able to go for something for free it's going to help so many people out.
Exactly. And we've got the outdoor play area and everything like that. So you can spend a day there and pay nothing if you really want to.
And there's also little independent shops as well. And the dog shop there, which Greg loved. You've got the florist, who's wicked. You've got
Yeah, so we've also now got a pottery studio.
Nice.
So I think you have to pre-book, but she's always there, so you can always call in and just say, hi, Lisa, like, how are you? Just having a look. And then we've also got Avery James, which is a dressmaker now, so he does like prom dresses, wedding dresses. So it's really like nice to have all of the tenants there. And they're always open Tuesday to Sunday, and they're all really friendly. So just come in, and we're completely dog friendly, which is like a massive plus because I'm dog obsessed. Yeah. So please bring your dog so I can put them on social media. But yeah, there is literally something for everyone.
Yeah. And then for you, LinkedIn is your main place, isn't it? For people, if they're wanting to come down, bring their dog, they can just drop you a message and be like, I'm coming down with my dog. You come say hi.
Yeah,
like,
I love LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I honestly love LinkedIn so much. But yeah, just message me if you wanna. If I'm always there. So apart from the weekend, sometimes I do have my days off.
Yeah, you need those days off.
Yeah, but I'm on LinkedIn, so yeah, just message me. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Having a chat. There's always more we can chat about, and I'm sure we will in the future at the networking events, and also just nipping down for a coffee.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, thank you for coming on. Thanks for talking about scoliosis and stealing books in your mind from the library and rewriting them.
Just to clarify, I'm not publishing them. It's not fraud. Oh yeah, thanks for having me.
My pleasure. That's it. Done. How was it? Difficult?
No,
Scary?
it's fun.
It's
so fun. I literally just yapping. Yeah, it's good. Was it all right?
Perfect. Let's do that's the proper end.
Lovely. Oh, it's so fun.